Paper audit and assurance has such low pass rate that even though it is within the skills level of ACCA, its pass rate is actually lower than the pass rate of some papers, which are strategic professional papers from the final level of ACCA studies. And you might wonder why, when the paper is actually so predictable, the questions are kind of very repetitive, and students work so hard trying to prepare for it, yet more than half of students regularly fail this paper. Now, let me tell you why, as a tutor who's been teaching that paper for a very long time, as someone who's been marking that paper for a very long time, having seen tens of thousands of student scripts. My name is Brigitte, by the way, and I do offer AA courses via FME Learn Online in case you need help. Anyway, back to business. Now, I'll give you an example here to illustrate the two main reasons why students don't pass, okay? One of them, imagine you are asked a question on substantive procedures. You know you will be asked that because this is one of the key topics. It's in every single exam. So your question is asking you in one of the requirements to prove a specific assertion. So you don't just have to do substantive procedures on a balance, say on inventory, but you have to prove a specific assertion regarding this balance with your substantive procedures. Let's say this is valuation of inventory. And you have a short scenario which gives you some facts. Now, what do you hardworking students do when you get this requirement? Well, let me tell you what you do. So many of you will write tests which are correct tests, but they do not cover the required assertion. So the examiner asks for valuation, which means you have to check whether inventory has been valued correctly within the financial statements. And what you end up doing is suggesting tests which relate to other assertions, like you're doing tests from floor to sheet and sheet to floor, and you also even suggest control tests, saying that you would observe the inventory count to make sure that it's conducted properly and so on. You're trying to prove cutoff, you're trying to prove ownership of the inventory and so on. And of course, that's not going to give you marks, even if you describe the test perfectly well. That's one reason, okay? And you don't even realize you've done it because you've written correct things and you've written a lot. Now, another reason is that, okay, you realize it's about valuation, and you, instead of suggesting how the auditor can check the valuation of inventory, you start quoting rules. Like you say, for example, inventory should be recorded at the lower of cost and net realizable value. Yes, that's correct, and you think you've done well, but is that a test, just stating the rule? Or inventory should be valued as per IAS 2. Well, I'm sorry, that's not enough. You have to say how inventory can be checked, whether it's valued per the lower of cost or net realizable value. And some of you will say that the auditor will check if inventory is recorded at the lower of the two, which is halfway there. It's still not enough because it doesn't tell the examiner how you will check whether this has been done or not. So you need to look for something like suggest that you will compare the inventory cost to the post-year-end sales invoices to see if the lower of the two has been chosen for the financial statements. One more thing before I leave you, okay? And that is where you have facts in the scenario and you ignore them and you make up your own facts. So sometimes scenarios with inventory valuation will have work in progress, they will have standard cost, sometimes they will not. And you tend to decide that you will test the standard cost even if it's not mentioned, or you will focus on WIP even if you don't have to. Or if the inventory question is about WIP, you actually, instead of testing the work in progress, you test other parts of inventory. So be careful, guys, please. Just read very carefully what the question is asking you about. Use the facts which are given to you and think about whether you're answering the question set or you're doing some random thing that you've chosen to do. And, you know, if you're not sure whether what you're doing is correct, which I think happens for most of you guys who don't make it, get your work marked. get on a course, even if that's just a revision course, where you would be set some homework assignments and you would be getting those checked for you, marked with feedback, so you know actually where you're going wrong and you know what to fix, so you can smash it in the exam.